Yo, what up guys, this is your boy Legendary here, and today people we're going to be doing a review of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode 8. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. So this was a really just kind of weird episode. It's going to be kind of hard to explain because of how weird it was. It's simple, but it's just a weird episode. Essentially the episode just starts off with kind of the backstory of this new character called Yoshio, I believe. It's just this kid who basically kind of became, I don't know if he's necessarily called a superhero because he's called a post-apocalyptic. He kind of became like a biker-looking dude or whatever. It's hard to explain, but anyway. So the episode starts off with that little backstory first, and we get into the episode, and the crew is down where they dueled, the hologram man and this and that, and they're trying to look for details to see like why it disappeared and this and that, but they couldn't find anything. And yeah, so they left, and it was apparently it's a very hot day today, like it's beaming. It was pretty hot today too, actually, in real life. But anyway, yeah, so it was a hot day, and essentially they go to a vending machine to get a drink, but Roman already took the last one, so they start complaining like, how could you do that? So the Roman's like, what are you guys talking about? There's another vending machine right over there. So then they go run over to the other vending machine, and then out of nowhere, this character appears, and he says that his name is, he basically calls himself the Combat King, post-apocalyptic whatever, Combat King or whatever, that's his name. And apparently he has a feud against Luke. Apparently he wants to duel him, and Luke instantly accepts because he's like, all right, well, I'm the Duel King, so he's always gonna accept the challenge because he wants to be the Duel King. He's not gonna back down. But the rivalry that he has against Luke is basically, or what he has against him, I should say, is, so apparently what happens is this kid goes to the newspaper club. I think he sees this article about Luke and this and that, of him bragging about himself or whatever, as usual. And then the Combat King, otherwise known as Yoshio, pretty much writes a letter to Luke asking him what he should do, because apparently Yoshio's mom won't allow him to do rush duels because she doesn't like rush duels. She thinks it's evil and this and that or whatever. So he asked Luke what he should do in the letter. So he sent a letter back to the boy, and he said, "Oh, you should just take care of your mom. Good luck." And that was it. So he was just confused, like, okay, what does that mean? So he's like, oh wait. So he's trying to figure out what he meant by that letter or whatever, because Luke wasn't very clear at all. He didn't really even give good advice. He sucks. But yeah, so he just basically kind of took that as he went back to that whole flashback of like that superhero that he liked or whatever, who wanted to protect his mom and this and that. So he basically kind of put on this costume. So essentially this giant character is not a real, it's actually a little boy in a costume, which is the weird part, which we find out at the end when he loses the duel. But we'll get into that. Obviously we know that Luke is going to win this duel. I'm not even gonna, come on. All right, but anyway, so the whole story about it is basically his mom won't cook him his favorite meal, which is the Neapolitan spaghetti. Yeah, so she won't cook him his favorite meal because he continues to rush duel, and he really wants to rush duel. So that's why he asked him like what he should do about it, and then he did this whole thing. So he's kind of dueling in secret from his mom, doing rush duels in secret. But yeah, so anyway, whatever, the duel starts. It's very interesting. His deck is basically a Beast Warrior deck. It's these kind of like Beast Warriors riding on motorcycles, so it's pretty cool, unique deck. I like that a lot. And he has this field spell, so this is the first field spell that's used, so they do a little tutorial about what field spells are. Apparently this field spell gives 300 attack to every single Beast Warrior type monster, and decreases the attack of every other non-Beast Warrior type monster on the field. So obviously all the Rook monsters are decreased by 300. It's a small boost and decrease, but it actually made a difference in the duel. So I think the Combat King, he just starts swarming a bunch of stuff, as usual. Then Rook goes, he summons a bunch of monsters. He summons his Ace Dragears, but it doesn't have enough attack points. He discards the top card of his deck so he can attack twice, and then he activates the spell card to I think shuffle back 2 monsters from his graveyard back to the deck to draw 1 card. And he kind of does this whole combo, but it doesn't do too much. He does some damage, but not too much really. So then whatever, it's Mad Dog's turn. He goes off, he summons his ace monster, and does a bunch of good plays. This was a very good duel, actually. I like it. Obviously, the duels have been getting slightly better over time. They're just going faster. Actually, what's interesting about this duel is most of the episode was about this duel, believe it or not. Like, there was some, explanation, some, story in, in the duel itself, but like I think like 3 minutes into the episode, like they started dueling right away. So it kind of broke the formula of like halfway through the episode is when the duel starts. So it was cool. So the whole episode was pretty much about the duel, and then there was some backstory here and there. But yeah, so he makes a comeback against Rook. Rook takes a bunch of damage, and then he gets dropped down to 500 life points. So yeah, he's in the tough spot right here, and then. So then we kind of cut to Mimi, who's been kind of spying on Yuga this whole time. She was actually earlier in the episode when they were in that kind of secret location trying to find out about where the, hologram man went and all that other stuff. I'm not even saying that right, but yeah. So Mimi goes, and then she notices, she's like wondering where Yuga went because she kind of lost track of him. She got kind of distracted. So, but when she goes outside, she sees a duel field. So she goes inside and she sees everybody's there, and then she notices the person who's actually dueling against Luke. And what's interesting about that is we basically find out at the end of the episode that that's Yoshio's mom. So Mimi's son was dueling Luke pretty much. So yeah, that was just kind of fun. I mean, we knew she had a mom. I mean, I already knew that this was gonna happen because it was kind of like spoiled in different ways, through Dylan's like podcasts and different things like that. So I already knew this was gonna happen, so this wasn't really a surprise to me, but it was just interesting. So she saw her son dueling, and basically at the end of the episode, I'll pretty much get to what happened with that. But the duel continues. Luke's turn goes. He makes this huge comeback. He summons this kind of new boss monster, which allows him to destroy a spell or trap on the field. So he destroys the field spell on the field. So now all the effects are gone. And then he activates Dragier's effect. He can attack twice, and then he direct attacks with the new monster, the Dragonic monster, which looks sick, by the way. Literally, the design of this dragon looks absolutely sick. Gorgeous design. I mean, it's in the thumbnail. You guys could see it right there on the screen. But yeah, what a gorgeous designed monster. Very simple, straightforward effect. Obviously, the Rush Duel cards don't have a lot of crazy effects, but man, that design of that monster is really sick. But yeah, so yeah, that's one of Rook's new monsters. He used a couple new spell cards as well, which is really cool. But yeah, so Yoshio lost, and then, but Mimi saw that he was still smiling after that. He wasn't even upset that he lost. He had fun with Rush Duels, and she kind of had a little bit of a change of heart there and whatnot. But yeah, basically right after the duel, they're just kind of talking and, like, oh, that was a great duel. I didn't think you would get rid of my field spell, stuff like that. Just having casual conversation, and basically, and then Luke just goes to him and be like, listen to me, never call yourself a duel king again. I'm the only duel king here. So he's just going off about himself, the usual Rook thing. But I just love it so much. He's just funny. He knows what he wants and he's going for it, but it's just funny. Even though Yuga was the one who invented Rush Duels anyway. What's interesting is that Yoshio actually asked Yuga that he wants to make his own rules and stuff too, which is interesting. And he also reveals that he's a 4th grader and underclassman, which is interesting. Rook almost kind of lost to an underclassman, but that's the thing with Rush Duels. It's like everyone has an advantage and anyone can come back, so it's not like, it doesn't matter how young you are. I mean, the rules are so simple, you can understand it, and it really gives everyone a chance to come back and like do epic things. So yeah, I like Rush Duels for that reason. But after that, Yoshio pretty much mentions that if they could do anything to kind of like help him talk to his mom and convince her to accept Rush Dueling and this and that. And then Yuga actually suggests that maybe I'll do something for you. I could create a new road for you or whatever, something like that. And Yoshio was excited, but then Luke was like, "Oh, are you really okay with that?" So then afterwards, he goes on a walk. He starts walking back home, and he starts to think about what Luke said, and he's wondering what that means. So he goes home to his mom and just tries to convince her again, like, "Hey, look, I love Rush Duels. I want to continue to do Rush Duels." And Mimi was there. She didn't turn around, but she was like cooking something. So he sits down for dinner, and she says, And she basically accepts the fact that he wants to do rush duels, and she says, all right, that's fine, just make sure you keep up with your studies. And she's like, oh, I made your favorite meal, the Neapolitan spaghetti. So he was really happy, he got his favorite meal again. It's just funny because all of this was about like the spaghetti thing. Is like he wanted Luke to convince his mom that it was okay for him to rush duel and that he should have fun, but she didn't like it, so she took away his favorite meal, which was the spaghetti. So all of this is for the spaghetti and also for the sake of doing rush duels. So it was kind of just a wacky episode, and it was just funny. It was just unexpected, but it was good. It was a good episode. I liked it a lot. It was very interesting. It was definitely unexpected. I actually got spoiled by the ending, because I didn't know that that was a costume he was wearing. So I was on Twitter the night before, and I'm like, all right, I know Luke is gonna win. So I was scrolling through because I'm like, all right, I mean, nothing, I know he's gonna win, so there's really no point of like trying not to spoil myself too much. I was like, all right, I guess I'll scroll through, and then I saw the picture of him like with the mask off, and I'm like, oh man, that got completely spoiled for me. Like, I wouldn't have expected something like that, to be honest. I mean, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's weird. I mean, it's sevens. It's weird as well. So, but I didn't expect him to be wearing a costume. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was a good duel. It was a lot of fun. It was a nice, sweet little episode. And yeah, so that's the episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought. It was a very weird episode, I know. So I don't know. It might have mixed feelings, but it's sevens. It's very wacky. I guess we should have expected that. I mean, literally with the title alone, you should be able to tell, like, yeah, this isn't going to be that serious of an episode. I mean, there's like Neapolitan spaghettis in the name of the episode. Like, how serious it's going to be. How serious is it going to be? But yeah, either way, it was a lot of fun. It was enjoyable. Thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, as well as in the chat. And yeah, guys, see you guys in the next video. God bless you guys. Gotcha!